Good morning. Today is Sunday, July 13th, 2025, and this is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast, looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go in the future. So this has been an exciting week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was relatively calm, and then Thursday and Friday, Bitcoin absolutely just took off like a rocket. We talked about it last week. I said, hey, we're kind of at the end of this consolidation period, like this kind of staying in between 100 and 110. It's been here for some time. And now it's like there's nothing holding it back from continuing on to the upside. And that's exactly what happened. So it went Bitcoin went up for a while, and it's still at 118 even over the weekend. So it's held pretty nicely. You may see I've been talking about 125. I think 125 you'll see some type of pullback. That's a strong number. And plus there's some historical kind of trend lines that converge on 125 too. So I think you could see some type of pullback back to 115, and then it's gonna rip. So we're in parabolic season. We see like this big swoop. It looks like a Nike check mark. It's just going to continue on to the upside. It's going to get faster and faster until we, hit those upper realms of, 150. And I've been talking about 250 by the end of the year. I think we're going to do that. And it's the thing about Bitcoin is just going to keep going up over time. So it's good. Even if it has down periods, like the overall trend direction from here on out is up. There's not really any fighting it anymore. It's here to stay. And that's what we have. So, and again, if you're listening to this right now, believe it or not, at 100,000, you're still pretty early. Bitcoin can potentially go to 7 figures, if not 8 figures, within the next decade or so. So, I mean, this was cool. Hey, there are people who got in at like 10 cents, and there are people who got in at $1,000. Congratulations to them. But you still have a good opportunity to grow your wealth and grow your money over time with Bitcoin. But again, not financial advice, but something that we can look at. So yeah, again, that's pretty much it to see on the monthly chart. We see on the weekly chart, you have this area right here, and then it just absolutely shattered this and closed. And it's going to close on the weekly candle right here. So that is good news. This has been a solid 2 weeks, for Bitcoin, 2 or 3 weeks. So you had one major lift off, and then a stagnant week, and then like this major lift off. So we're in up season. Very similar to this here. If we look at the weekly chart, so you had an up move all the way down from 75. You had an up move, stagnant, up move, stagnant, up move again, and then it just kind of stalled out for a little bit, but now it's back to this move again. So we should see some fantastic movement coming in the near future. So again, let's go ahead and put the drawings on. So like 110 was like kind of the line and saying 111, but we've broken that. Let us take a look. Let's take a look. I talked about the other week that 100 is really the hard line, saying it couldn't break that below that. From here to here, it did hit above 100 for the first time, but again, that came all the way down from like 52,000 to 100,000. That's a $50,000 move. So yeah, it makes sense that it kind of got exhausted here. It went down one more time to the bottom of this channel. This channel has been holding. And then now it's coming up to hit the top of this channel. So I think this is why I talk about 125. You could hit there, come back, and then it should break it at a certain point. So last week I talked about the different moves. So there was this up move, and then I'm just thinking that you'll see some type of ranging over the coming days to get up to 125. Maybe a week or two. Who knows how long it'll take? But I don't suspect it'll be long. So yeah, that's still an uptrend at this point. So on the weekly chart, let's look at the moving averages. So the moving average is within the 50-week moving average is within the uptrend line that we've had. Let's take a look here. We've broken the escape velocity line, y'all. We have broken the escape velocity line. Let's take a look here. From here to here, all the way, we have broken the escape velocity line, this white line that we've had. Let's make that a thicker line. It's that important. So this big thick line right here, this we've broken above that. So now we see that, hey, we're above this line. This is historic. This is historic for sure. And even this green channel. So like we bounced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now we're gonna stay here for a little bit, and then that's when I suspect that you end up going up to these upper realms. These upper realms like 200,000 and 250 and stuff like that. So this is exciting. These are exciting times for sure for Bitcoin. I mean, it's no secret. This is not going anywhere at this point. But again, the people who are willing to follow the journey over the years and take advantage of the opportunities that it presents itself, they're gonna end up making themselves a good amount of money for sure. Daily chart. So we've run up here, from here, and then just bounced around in this range, this bull flag for a while. So let's call that a bull flag. Let's say bull flag. Make it 16. Yeah. So you have your bull flag here, and then it broke out. So it came up, tapped again, and then it's just off to the races. So we see this was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is really fantastic days for Bitcoin. And then we're in the weekend, so that makes sense. But I mean, as we can see, it really did come up here, came down, come up here, came down. So we'll see. I think we could see one more downshift before we get up to 120, and then one more down to 117, one final time before finally getting up to 126. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because it didn't take nearly as long. We're talking about September, but now it's just, we're up. We're off to the races. You have the moving averages protecting you to the bottom side. So the 200, 150 moving average, all sitting right there. Short-term hold a realized price, and then the 100,000 line. That's where you get that line in the sand. Get that line in the sand, and then you have your kind of escape velocity line. So we've broken above that. We have broken above the escape velocity line, and now we're just going to continue on to the upside. So that's pretty much all there is to say. Like, I mean, it'll either be a straight up line or a zigzag line up to 125, and then we'll reevaluate from there and see what it happens. But this is good. This is really good. This is what we need to see, and what I suspect that we'll see for the rest of the year. Just absolute movement in good direction. So literally from Wednesday at 11 a.m. to Friday at 7 a.m. So really the move was done by Thursday. It was really Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday just kind of chilled out. But yeah, Wednesday afternoon to Friday to Thursday evening, it just went on a rocket mission. So interesting to see for sure. All right, well, that's all on the charts. The other thing that I'll look at is, as always, seeing what the upcoming news is for the week. Really, the only major one is the CPI, the inflation numbers. They are expecting that inflation will have a small uptick from last month. So we see it's just been it's actually been on a downtrend. Like this is a relative downtrend for real. So it, hey, 3.6 and then 3.2 and then 3.0 here. And then now we're down to 2.4. So staying in this area, that kind of makes sense. You're not going to get too much below 2, really. I mean, historically, this is where things settle. All of this was COVID. This is COVID. This is big inflation coming from us printing trillions and trillions of dollars, but now we see that we've returned back to some type of median. So somewhere around here, like 2.4. So we're at average territory right now. I don't see us going too far below that. I don't see us going too far above unless, again, we print trillions and trillions of dollars, which, again, will be, I don't want to say great for Bitcoin, but realistically, if they start printing money, Bitcoin's going to absorb a lot of that. And we'll talk about a little bit later about why that's important. But for now, just know that inflation will probably kind of stick where it is unless we start printing a whole bunch of money. Then I do suspect that it will go up again. So other thing, Bitcoin volatility index. Bitcoin volatility index. So this is just seeing how much Bitcoin ranges over time. So like this is 12% over a 60-day period. This is over a 60-day period. No, actually, this is a 60-day period. Let's take this one off. Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Over a 60-day period, the historic volatility, this is going all the way back to 2011. It's like 14% over a 60-day period. Could swing in either direction. And then we see over time, it just gets lower and lower and lower and lower. The volatility has gotten lower. And in my opinion, that's necessary for adoption. Like you can't have some type of globally adopted currency that swings 14% every 16 days, especially when you're talking about playing with billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars. Like that, you need to have something that's a little bit more stable, a little bit more predictable. But realistically, even if we say every 60 days, so in a calendar year, there's 6 sets of 60 days. So, 2 months six 2-month periods. If you're getting, 2% every 60 days, that's not bad. I mean, considering that the average 401k is looking at like 8% a year, and I think that's even being generous. After fees, you're looking at about 4%. So just holding Bitcoin over that period, um, it's profitable. It's just proven itself to be profitable over time. So we see volatility is decreasing. That is to be expected. And from there, I mean, it's the average 30-day. I don't think they have an average 60, but overall, the volatility is decreasing. So it's becoming more tradable. Well, not more tradable, but I would say that it is becoming more attractive to big players at this point, and it's not seen as like this scary asset anymore. Like it has been at this point almost fully adopted by the big boys. And speaking of adoption, so Bitcoin adoption is really just beginning. People think that like, all right, so we are at 100,000. This must be the end of the road. Not at all. I think we're at 3%. We're at 3% adoption here. So Bitcoin in 2025, online banking in 1996. So look at where online banking is now compared to 1996 when we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have we barely had computers with the internet. Social media in 2005. So this is the era of like Facebook just got its start. I want to say Twitter was, they might have been 2009, I want to say. And then MySpace, if you're that old. MySpace was, really the king in around 2005. So, and 2005, 2008, and then the internet in 1990. So we've seen the evolution of all of these different spaces, from social media to the internet to online banking to Bitcoin, and we're still only 3% adoption for Bitcoin. And this is coming from River Capital. I really do trust their analysis. Like they've proven themselves to be a highly credible source. So, if we're at 3%, we still have this big uptrend to take. So the big thing that I look at is here is institutional underallocation. So U.S.-based investment advisors collectively allocate just 0.006% of their portfolio to Bitcoin. 0.0006. Not 6%, not 0.6%, not 0.06%. That is 6,000ths of a percent. So yeah, that would be 6/10, 600, 6,000ths of a percent. That's nothing. They're not even they're not adding to it at all. So while 14% of Americans own some Bitcoin, global ownership remains under 4%. Under 4%. So I mean, we're gonna see good times. I'm excited. Last thing I'll talk about is ISO. So we're again, I talked about last week, Basel 3 and ISO 22. I just kind of want to look at the timeline, right? So we are actually making the switch to ISO 2022. I don't even know how to say it. 222. I don't know. That's going to happen on July 14th, which is tomorrow. Let me see. 2004. ISO was introduced to the International Organization for Standardization. That was 2004. We talked about 2004 on the other side. 2010, initial adoption for Europe's target. Then we see the 2020, Ripple decided to join ISO, become the first blockchain company to do that. This is why many people think Ripple will do fantastic over time, because, hey, it's followed the guidelines. And we see at this point, the ones that are going to win are the ones that have followed the path. I mean, a lot of altcoins, I'd say the majority of them will fall off over time. There's just not a use case for a million different blockchains. Realistically, it's not. Bitcoin is king. Ethereum, Solana, these big ones will be around. Ripple and everything that's ISO 222 compliant, 20,022, whatever you want to call it. And what is this? Swift. Swift begins phase migration from MT messages to ISO 20,022. So Swift, if you don't know, is the banking standard that we've been under for a long time. I don't know how long it goes back, but a long time we've been under Swift, and that's the messaging system that banks use. And ISO is just so much faster. It's so much more transparent. The speed and the lack of lag is incredible from that. So it's just a function of crypto for sure. And then March of 2023. So this is actually around the time, funny enough, that I started talking about crypto heavily and doing these weekly forecasts. The European Union, Fedwire, and global banks begin the transition efforts to ISO 20,022. And now, tomorrow, we're going to actually, fully migrate over to, it's the deadline for full migration. So we'll be full crypto at that point. We'll be full crypto, full transparent, new standard. So, I mean, y'all, I mean this honestly. This is some of the most exciting times that we're going to have for sure. The next several years are going to be great for those who are willing to take advantage of crypto and all the bigger opportunities that exist in the market. But hey, from here on out, y'all, it's happy shooting, happy trading, happy allocating, however you want to do it. But I would just say this is the space to get some real action between here and gold. I think the stock indices will lag a little bit. Housing is not great as far as I can see, but the ones that I really think are going to win are your commodities and overall your cryptos. So Bitcoin, Ripple, and all the other ones that we've talked about. So again, this has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out a crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com, and I will see you on the moon. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.